And hello and welcome to the Legends of the Wind podcast. I'm your host, Jurri Schenck. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is an exciting time of another great time of storytelling, of prophetic story. What we're doing here is we're pioneering an amazing new prophetic expression through storytelling, through prophetic parables. We're using the creative arts. We're fathering the imagination for you to discover who you are in your identity and destiny. And so we want to encourage you that this is an amazing time of experiencing creativity and spiritual experiences with the Lord. Now, for those of you who are watching, we welcome you. Thank you for being part of the chat. It's exciting to be here with you tonight. We encourage you to make comments in the chat, especially during the story time and in time of interpretation. Now, for those of you who are new, who have never heard of prophetic story and wondering what the heck is this all about, well, I want to invite you into an experience. So Jesus told parables. He told stories, and these were unique and original for him at the time. Over many thousands and hundreds of years, we've experienced the parables of the Bible, and we think they're normal. They're just everyday part of the scripture. But for Jesus, he was operating prophetically. He was getting a download of revelation from the Lord about a story, communicating the kingdom through a story. And that's what we do here. Oh, hey, Robbie, good to see you. Hello, Mom and Dad. Thanks for joining us. Great to have you here tonight. Thanks so much. And so with a prophetic story is God has given me not just a prophetic gifting. He's allowed me to have access to the library of heaven. Now in the Bible, it talks about that there are books written about us in heavenly places. Now, does that mean that these books in a library, because that's where they're stored, right, is a library. That doesn't mean that these are almanacs and telephone books and, weather reports. No, these are creative expressions. These are wonderful ideas, narratives that communicate his story for us. It's not just a boring, dry security footage, if you know what I mean. These are creative works of art. And so I want to let you know about how that works. Now, I want to show it to you biblically, okay? So where's this kind of thing in the scripture? So in Proverbs 25:2, it says, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search a matter out." And in Psalm 78, it says, "Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, telling to the generations to come the praises of the Lord, and his strength and his wonderful works that he has done." If you notice here at the bottom, it says apocalypse. It means uncovering. Now, so what does that mean to do with prophetic story? Well, a story that is prophetic is an inspiration from Holy Spirit, okay? And they have hidden sayings and hidden dark sayings. It doesn't mean they're evil. They're shadowed language. That means that they have hidden treasures, not hidden from you, but hidden for you. They're meant to be discovered. That's why it says in Proverbs 25, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but it is up to you to discover your royalty, to search a matter out." Now, in 2008, I already had my prophetic gifting in the normal sense operating, but I started in children's ministry, and I started journaling. And in 2008, God said, "And when the time comes for you to be ushered into my presence, I will help you believe that my story and my history are sound and of good shape. The people of Hollywood will come to you for the story, not a mere screenplay, but an understanding of the story that I'm writing. The ability to see and to understand story is vital for my church and the transformation of the culture. To know the enemy, to know the heroes, to know the quest and the stakes, to take the risks, to believe in your heart that what you're called to be and to do are desperate and necessary. These are elements that must return to the consciousness of the culture. The ability to tell stories will open people's eyes, bring a bridge to the word and to the author. I am writing your story. I am perceiving your greatness and your sight and your sound. You will be able to walk into a room and tell peoples their story. Prophecy and prophetic words will change. It won't be a mere description of their past in a literal sense, but a telling of their true character as I define it. You will speak to their past in story form, and then you will hand them their future and let them finish the parable. Yeah, isn't that amazing? So God really values story, but right now the church has lost its story. And what we're doing here is we're pioneering to rebirth storytelling in the church. And not, this isn't just written. It could be art, it could be acting and music, painting, sculpting, flower design, if you know what I mean. So those are some beautiful ways of expressing the kingdom. Now, I want to bring in my guest tonight. This is Charmain Chen. Hello, welcome.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks, Jurri.
Thank you very much for joining us and for requesting a story. Cool.
hmm
So everybody in the chat, last week we had some audio issues. Whenever Charmaine speaks, could you let me know if she sounds good or if there's an echo? I'm wearing headphones because I'm not in my studio, so I'm hoping there's no issue. But let us know if the sound is good, okay? Charmaine, thank you very much for joining us. Could you introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, so I'm Charmaine. I live in Pasadena, so Los Angeles area. I'm a wife, a mom of two college-age daughters, and I have been a small business owner for the last 12 years and going through some changes now and have been focused a lot on design in terms of florals.
Nice, nice. So how did you find out about us and why did you get a story?
Because I saw my friend Robbie Little's post on Facebook and I thought it was so intriguing and I guess I was just very curious. And so I thought, yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to be encouraged and who doesn't want to hear a story about themselves or their future? So I just jumped in.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for doing that. Everyone says very clear, say sounds good, easy to hear and understand. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Great.
Appreciate it. Maybe my headphones was the issue. Okay, very good. Well, now, so you know, for you, Charmaine, and also for the audience, I want to kind of briefly give you an understanding how to receive a prophetic story, okay? So a prophetic story is meant to be understood symbolically, not literally, even if there's a sense of realism to the story, okay? The idea is that it has hidden treasures in it for you and others to discover. Now, the prophetic story is a revelation. And then we're going to have a time of interpretation where you get to unpack and discover what God's saying to you in the story. And the chat is also important because they can see things and hear things in the Lord and add that to the conversation as well. And then the goal is the application. What is God telling you to do? How does he want you to respond, right? Now, Charmaine, I want you to know you have power. You have a choice. You can say, yes, I receive this prophetic story, or no, I do not. Or you may need time to process it and to kind of chew on it, if that makes sense. But the thing is, it's never meant to be imposed upon you. It's meant to be encouraged and for you to discover on your own. Okay?
Mhm.
Cool. So I think that's it. Would you like to receive your prophetic story?
Yes, please.
All right. So it's story time. So here we go. The field of wheat. Enormous ocean waves rocked the deep sea research vessel as its crew reached their target zone. The intense wind blew the spray across the bow, while the captain and Charmaine were getting ready to drop their submersible to do their final examination. Below, the prized wreckage was dangerously close to a large trench. They were lucky to finally discover it, but if there was any more movement on the plateau of the seabed below, the whole battalion warship carrying the gold and treasure would fall and they would lose it forever. Charmaine's experiences perfectly trained her for many adventures. She was a woman of incredible vision and sacrifice, always working hard, seeking to discover new ideas, clues, and valuables. She was the ultimate treasure hunter. Many accused her of being a hack. The queries she published faced constant opposition. There were other researchers that made it their mission to disrupt and discredit her. However, she bore the greater fruit, putting to shame those who assaulted her with their words, with the manifestation of evidence in hand. These attacks happened so often, it became comical for Charmaine. Her close friends marveled at how she weathered so many storms. All of it was like water off a duck's back in the end. Charmaine had the greater wisdom that allowed her to see much more clearly. This wasn't just spiritual ideas, it was that and more, all wound together with her higher education and her tenacity to find the truth. If you wanted to bait Charmaine with an adventure, give her the clues and the sense for the next treasure hunt, and she will go. This brings us to the rocky ship far out into the ocean. Charmaine was in trouble, and she didn't know it. The captain and Charmaine dropped down deep into the submersible vessel. They were going to recover some of the last treasures and undisturbed pottery. The artwork on the jars was in prime condition. This last hunt excited Charmaine to no end. It was going to make headlines all over the world. The captain was indeed the leader of the ships, but Charmaine was the leader of the quest. It was quiet as they went down, except for the incredible pressure that crunched and cracked the metal of the submersible. They came to the midnight zone and turned on all their lights. Charmaine kept her cool. They had plenty of oxygen and batteries to take them to the wreckage. Soon they arrived, and Charmaine looked out the spherical window of their vessel. They already had scanned the site with lasers and high-resolution cameras, which created an incredible 3D representation of everything. This allowed them to document the removal of all the treasure. However, as they maneuvered over the bow of the wreckage to get to the pottery and gold coins, the tether cable that connected them to the surface snagged on a long beam of broken wood. The cold water had no oxygen, and the wood had not decayed, still making it very strong. As it turned to the right, the tethered cable spun the vessel around suddenly, and with significant force, knocking Charmaine off her seat. The lights flickered several times, and then all of them went dark. Charmaine called to the captain, asking for help. He replied, "Do not worry. This is a slight technicality." Charmaine reached out into the darkness, trying to feel her way through the small submersible. The only thing she could see were the eyes of the captain. His pocket had a pen light in it he turned on. There was nothing else to see with. The captain grabbed the pen light and left his pilot's seat and came to Charmaine to assure her all was well. He said, "I will straighten this out and turn the vessel into the right direction. That will reconnect our power with the tether." Charmaine took a few deep breaths and acknowledged his actions. But this was no ordinary jarring episode. It was a true fight against the darkness that surrounded them. Charmaine had ventured into the deep before. She had courage and peace, but this time the challenge was too intense. Next, the fans from the air supply stopped spinning, and the interior became warmer and warmer. There was less access to the oxygen, and now they were even in graver danger. Charmaine called out to the captain, "I can't breathe. I can't see." The captain seemed to be silent at this moment. Charmaine's head was spinning with dizziness. The mixture of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and air were all wrong. Charmaine felt nauseous. The darkness closed in on her. She passed out. The captain seemed nowhere in sight. It was still. Blackness. Silence. Fear. A heart beating. A breath. Another breath. A rush of air. A great gasp of inhaling her last breath. Charmaine sat up. There was a blue light that surrounded her far off in the distance. It was as if she was underwater at the deep surface of the ocean, and yet she could breathe. Was she dead? Was she alive? All Charmaine could think of was, where is the light? Off to the left there was a glowing orb of blue light, maybe 300 yards away. It slowly approached Charmaine in this void and moved as if it was floating. The closer this orb appeared, Charmaine could see that it had glowing wings with many bright spots on it that waved like a stingray. Charmaine felt great fear and wonder in her heart as this creature soon arrived just 10 feet away. This sea angel reached out with one of its wings and produced a pointing gesture. Suddenly, the wings assigned a bright light like a supernova exploding. This shocked Charmaine, where she felt the power hit her. This energy cut a line in the deep water and formed a large empty space. It was about 20 feet high, 1,000 feet long, and 50 feet wide. The bottom of the space was the ocean floor, and it was dry. The sea angel turned to Charmaine and beckoned her to come into the space. She waved her arms and seemed to float over, and to her surprise, she stepped on dry land, a white-colored, solid earth. Charmaine couldn't believe her eyes. She wondered where the captain was, the wreckage, and their submersible. "Who are you?" asked the Charmaine. The sea angel replied with ripples in its strange voice. "I am the captain." Charmaine asked, "Where are the ship and the treasure?" The sea angel waved its arm over the space and said, "Look." Charmaine turned to see that the space became a time-lapse motion vision of a large desert where a plow tilled the hard ground. Then someone planted seeds in the rows. Rain came and then the growth happened. But there were many sunrises and sunsets that occurred before the field of wheat showed itself. "Why is a field of wheat at the bottom of the ocean?" exclaimed Charmaine. "It's time," replied the captain, the beautiful sea angel. He continued, "You've already come to the surface." Charmaine gasped and choked in a panic as she breathed. Someone had an oxygen mask covering her face. Charmaine realized the captain brought her to the research vessel, and the medical staff attended to her. "She was hyperventilating when the power went out and the fan stopped," informed the captain. One doctor said, "This is an easy fix." Charmaine gained her balance and headspace. She looked around and saw that the captain returned to her with a big smile on his face. "What about the treasure?" asked Charmaine. "You have a second chance, Charmaine. All the work has not been lost. You just had a little hiccup. Today marks a new beginning." Emotions of relief filled Charmaine's soul. She remembered the space deep down at the bottom of the ocean. Viewing the field of wheat struck her, but the most important moment was when she heard the words, "It's time." All of her significant investment and time were paying off. Charmaine sowed in hard soil, and now the harvest of the field is here. And yet losing oxygen, the panic, the crushing darkness, and the silence did not end up destroying her. Charmaine remembered the pen light as being the one thing that enabled her to see the eyes of the captain. Somehow, in some way, that became the tool for her breakthrough. The following day, Charmaine and the captain returned to the ocean floor to regain their treasure. It was worth it all, and Charmaine, rightfully so, took the credit. Inceptio. So that's it. Now, Inceptio, Charmaine, I want to let you know, like typically a movie, a book, will have the end after this conclusion of the story. Inceptio is Latin for the beginning. So what I'm doing here is you're becoming a legend. You're just finding out where you are on the map of life. You're finding out who you are in the Lord, and I'm handing you your future, the beginning. Okay? Sorry for my throat, but I wanted to bless you with that. If anybody in the chat has any comments, we'd open that up to you now. But first of all, Charmaine, have I ever met you before?
No, never.
No, and I've never. I don't even know if you're on Facebook. I didn't research you or anything. So I wrote this story blind for Charmaine. So Charmaine, how is this story speaking to you?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and it was moving. There are like lots of things that resonated, and it's quite apt in terms of the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about all of that. Let's unpack it.
I probably started on some kind of exploration back in 2020 when God was already trying to switch me from what I was doing before. It was more like, regular prophetic stream kind of stuff, learning and growing and ministering to kind of merging the mystical with science,
Oh,
with
okay.
exploration.
Okay.
And so some people might call it like futurism, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I, God just led me on this path to really focus on like mysteries or secrets that He
Okay.
wanted uncovered, and in the form of um, things that could could bring us into the future. So
Okay.
kind of like, I don't know how to sum it up, but it has been quite a journey and exploration, and kind of people maybe probably didn't understand, and so I wouldn't really talk about it.
All right.
Um,
Right.
and so it really connected with some of the things you said in the beginning,
Okay.
of, like maybe people just think it's weird or they don't get it, but it actually was very genuinely a journey that God put me on. And I was just saying, okay, yes, um,
Wow.
and uh, and there were a lot of trials and tribulations because I did put money into it. I did put a lot of time and effort into it. I was trying to go down different paths, but they were just like, I would just get derailed. Like in the beginning, there was a lot of revelation, and then it just dried up, and
Oh.
um, and then now I'm in this season where um, I've been learning. I've just begun, you know, hearing more about the concept of Jubilee. And I also have been recently praying a lot into the angelic realm around me and building
Mm-hmm.
that up, the angelic orbit around my life. And so it's really interesting that this was like the sea angel. It was leading angel, like a blue orb.
Huh.
So, which has been, I really believe that is going to help break me through back into some of the momentum I had before in terms of
Oh, wow.
discovering what it is I'm supposed to focus on in terms of research. Um, yeah, I could go in different directions. So that has been the lack of clarity, is like,
Mm.
am I supposed to focus on this or am I supposed to focus on that?
Wow. Okay. So I'm thinking on my feet right now because obviously I've never met you before, and I didn't even when we were getting set up, you never mentioned this particular stuff at all. So
No.
so so you're gonna have to guide the show, not me. So let's talk more about. So let's talk about the story. So like obviously, what are the symbols in the story that completely
Mhm.
resonate with you? And then if for me and the audience, why does that resonate with you? Like, what does that mean? Like, what is God telling you? See, the thing is, Charmaine and others, I write the story blind, and I don't know what is meaningful to my guest who I write for, because the person, even though you may in the audience may not receive this story directly, you can still see it for yourself even because the stories are universal even though they're individual. But for me as the
Mhm.
deliverer, I'm honestly clueless most of the time of what's meaningful to the receiver. So Charmaine, help me out, help the audience out. Like, let's go for it. This sounds really meaty. This sounds really nice. Um,
Mhm.
can you help? Obviously you were writing a lot during the story time. So
Yeah,
what? Go for it. What's happening here? What's speaking to you?
sure. Well, like recovering lost treasures,
Hmm.
I think that I'm kind of on a quest in
Yeah.
discovering some mysteries of the universe kind of things that have to do with energy. And he has told me, things about the future, in
Hmm.
terms of energy, and it's in the quantum realm. And I'm not a scientist, so I'm just really going by like childlike faith. So I think just following him out of union with Jesus, like going to these places, like trying to figure out what does he really want to bring forth into the world? What is it that he wants us to recover or uncover?
Hmm.
Maybe it could have been knowledge in the past. It's like ancient knowledge already, or it could be things that are going to move us forward into the future.
Yeah.
So though that kind of analogy really resonated, like
Mm-hmm.
recovering lost treasures and going down deep into a place of mystery of the ocean where it's unseen and dark. And
Mm-hmm.
the area that I feel that one of the areas I'm meant to govern is actually space. Like it has to do with space, like planets and things like that. So
Okay.
it's sort of like contrary to like ocean deep, but it's actually in the skies.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very like, it sounds kind of odd, but it's that we are all called to govern something in the kingdom, and
Okay.
that me discovering this journey that I'm called to govern certain things, like certain areas, and
Mm-hmm.
some of it may seem very odd to people that, yeah, like another part of the story that, was kind of like really hit home and that it was more emotional was just like how other people reacted to it. Like they didn't
Mm.
really, maybe they said negative things, or I've just like kind of like lived under that kind of like spell
Mm-hmm.
of trying to like move out of that and not be limited by that, and to still go after what God's told me,
Yes.
even if it's misunderstood or disliked or it displeases people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or people just say it's wrong,
Right. Right.
something bad. Yeah, and wonder is a huge thing for me. That is
Mm.
what I believe I'm supposed to manifest in the world. And so you talking about the orb, the blue light, the glowing wings, that there's a sea angel, and that she was going to help me, and that even though everything was like so dangerous and I almost lost everything, but that there was hope, and that like it was going to turn around, like, and the angel's like, I am the captain, and the treasure didn't get lost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it would have felt like for years that, is this over? Like everything was just shut down. I really couldn't see the future. I couldn't see ahead of myself. But I think I'm being brought back into a time where, I mean, your story said, it's time,
Yes.
and for you to find this treasure and to find that field of wheat in the bottom of the ocean, which means it's completely illogical and doesn't make
Right.
sense. It's not
Right.
natural. It's very like beyond what humans might think is possible. Um, and then you mentioned lots of words about like um, time lapse. So I have been recently also um, growing and understanding, and like through a course I'm taking, like more about the nature of time, and God has
Mm-hmm.
been talking to me and revealing more things to me about time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really neat that you touched on that too. um, yeah, that I having a significant investment in time had paid off, um, and that it wasn't wasted, it wasn't lost. I get the treasure, at the end. I
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
second chance. Yes,
Yes.
all the work has not been lost. Um, yeah, and that I saw the eyes of the captain and I regained the treasure, and then I was given the credit. Yeah, so it's very hopeful
Oh,
with
good.
what I'm going through.
That's
Hmm.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. I think you did really well with summarizing. We have some comments, or a comment in the chat. Robbie's here. It was a great story. Charmaine is also definitely a treasure hunter looking for the gold in people. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, guys.
Thanks, Robbie.
Everyone who's watching, we got some people coming on board online here. We're welcoming you to give your thoughts and revelation in the chat as well, your comments to encourage Charmaine or even me. But yeah, this is cool. Very good. Yeah, I think like I started picking up the story like a week or so ago, or about 4 or 5 days ago. I was getting the title, some of the images, and it reminded me of the movie from James Cameron, The Abyss. But I wasn't trying to copy The Abyss or anything. I wanted it to be your story. And so I remember seeing the field of wheat in the bottom of the ocean. And like what you said was, it's illogical. Like, why? So I was only given pieces, and then I just wrote the story a few days ago and finally was able to see it in its flow. But the thing is, the illogical nature of it. I think that now I'm getting to hear from you about your heart is to pursue mysteries. That's just exactly what this story is pursuing the mysteries of the deep. And my understanding about scientific research is that there's a lot of competition, right? There's like, oh, your claim in your scientific paper is debunked. I refuted that a long time ago. Or there's a lot of like arguing back and forth professionally. But when you said that you were getting pushback from what you were exploring spiritually, to me that represents the religious spirit that some people have, that they may not understand something. So I think that in that sense, you were speaking that the story was right on. And then you were able to get the treasure anyway, and that you were able to refute those people because the evidence came into your hands. So I think that my take, well, I mean, I want to get your opinion, Charmaine, about your application, but my take is that your quest for the deep things of God is not over. Even though you're changing your career in the natural and your family's shifting things in the natural, I believe that you're supposed to go further into those deeper things with the Lord in his kingdom. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
Um, do these names resonate? Have you heard of these people? Ian Clayton, Justin Abraham.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
you do? Do you know
Yeah.
Justin Abraham? Company Running
Yeah.
Heart. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened
So
to him and yeah, connected to them.
right. So here's the thing. Um, what we're doing here at Legends of the Wind is we're trying to encourage people who are already prophetic, who already have the ability to see and hear in the Lord, but we're
Hmm.
trying to give them a vehicle to go to the heavenly places. That the mystical Christianity is where
Hmm.
it's at, man, because the just being
Yeah.
charismatic and prophetic isn't everything. And I don't claim to have it all, but being prophetic is like a doorway to experiencing more of the Lord. So the fact that you already know about those people is encouraging me because they're already way ahead of what I'm doing. And I have no idea how they do what they do either. But they're inspiration to me. But I want to build a bridge for people for experiencing Jesus, for his heart. You know what I mean? So the fact
Hmm.
is, I would say, do you know about Wow Church in Sri Lanka?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So
Yeah. Hmm.
I want to put an idea out there for you. This is not necessarily a prophetic word, okay? I'm not trying to say this is the Lord. But if you have the finances and the time, I encourage you to go to Wow Church or at least one of their conferences when they have it in the United States or Canada. I would
Great.
say if this story is from heaven and this is speaking to your heart in such a way, go, go, go. Go hunting. Go for it. Go for more. And hopefully I can join you with my wife because that was something I would love
Yeah.
to do. That's something in my heart, we want to do too. We've never been in the position logistically to do it. Now we might. So um, let me ask you a question along these lines.
Hmm.
Why do you get excited about the mysteries of heaven or the Lord? What is it? Like if you were to speak it in words, like why do you get excited? What is it?
Um, I mean, it it comes from love, you know.
Okay,
Everything
okay,
comes from love. It's I mean, I don't know if mystery is like my deepest word.
okay,
I
okay.
think it's more, I mean, I think it's part of it, but I would say I don't know why it's exciting. It's just how I'm wired. But I think I just very simply, I mean, out of love for him, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and what he shows me, and, you just follow like a curious child, you know, you're just led into places like he naturally will lead us into places to see things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the whole universe is alive. It's conscious, like
Mm-hmm.
the planets, the stars. Like if we just know that we're in union with Jesus and we're willing to go and explore, you know, and they are alive and they talk, and it's all stems from love. If we love them, then they love us, and they just start communicating. And I don't know if that answers your question, but part of that is why it's exciting to discover, because it's not really like that's my purpose, but it's more out of love. I just follow him and that's where he takes me. And then I find, wow, it's like a living world. It's like Alice in Wonderland or something.
Ah.
Everything is just alive and speaking and talking and relating, and they want to have friendship with us. And yeah, that's all I could say.
Oh, I love it. I love it because see, if a person had a religious spirit, they'd be going red flag all over the place, right? But I get it. I get what you're talking about because the key thing that you said is about love with union with Jesus, and I think that it's about our connection with Jesus, with the creation, with what He has created. Um, I'll get to that in a moment. And so idea, I think there's your heart is curious. I love. See, the thing is, now it's at the point where I know that this story is for you because at the beginning I have no idea what's going on. I love what it says here. Charmaine had the greater wisdom that allowed her to see much more clearly. This wasn't just spiritual ideas, it was that and more, all wound together with her higher education and her tenacity to find the truth. If you want to bait Charmaine with an adventure, give her the clues and the sense for the next treasure hunt. She will go.
Yeah.
There, that's it. That's it. That's
Yeah.
you. That really is you,
Hmm.
isn't it? This is so cool. So cool. So in my estimation, in my opinion, I don't buy into the escapism theology of the rapture. Okay, just so you know, I believe we are supposed to bring heaven to earth. I believe that we're supposed to advance the kingdom on all seven mountains of culture. That we're not just supposed to be on the religion church mountain. And like for me and my wife, we're called to Hollywood. We're called to the entertainment realm. And so what I see you are doing is that because of your heart for curiosity and your heart for hunger, this story is affirming to you your identity. This is like what it says, becoming a legend. Now, I kind of alluded that earlier. A legend on a map is a place in the corner or somewhere where it shows what symbols are and what they mean. And then when you look on the map, you can say, here's this symbol, here's this one. And if you become a legend, you can find out where you are on the map. And a legend is your identity in the Lord. It's also points you in the direction of your destiny. So I would say this story is right on to encourage you to go continue onto those deep things. Now we have a couple comments coming in. Let's see. My father says, you were in a submersible. You may be supposed to be submersing yourself in your quest. Yeah, like
That's so great. Thank
diving
you.
in. Go for it. Diving in.
Yeah.
Robbie has this. Going on the quest in the story represents a pioneer and an adventure, which is representative of what she's doing in her life. Doing it with Jesus is going to take her to incredible places.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Nice. Thank you, Dad and Robbie. That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
now I'm getting more warmed up and more excited about this. This is great. Great. So oh, yeah. So that the angel, the sea angel carved a space in the depth for you. And it was like a sped up vision of time lapse of a rough terrain that end up becoming a field of wheat, because that's the title, the field of wheat. See, I knew when I gave the title at the beginning, and then all of a sudden we're in the ocean. We're like, what? But it was the vision. God's creating space for you.
Wow.
The Bible talks about this in larger tents. Stretch out your pegs and your stakes and your tent pegs, and make room. I believe that God is giving you the ability and the invitation for an increase. And I believe it's an increase of the deeper things of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be very fruitful for you. The wheat. It's time for the harvest, right? Does that make sense? And so the Lord see, Jesus is the captain, right? He's the Lord. He's carving a place for you in the depth. Even though in the natural you were panicking, right? You were in darkness.
Mm-hmm.
The power went out, the oxygen went out. You don't know if you're alive or dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that this is super yeah, I think this is super encouraging for you for all of this. This is great.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I think I felt that for sure.
Great. Now, before we take our break for our offering, so Charmaine, for you, what would you say to someone who has never heard of prophetic storytelling? What would you tell them what it is?
Try it. It's incredible. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It will
And
like open up more things for you to think about. Hmm.
good. So what else? What's your takeaway of this experience with me tonight? Like, what are you feeling?
Encouraged and strengthened to keep going, that I'm on the right track, and that just really encouraged that he's going to give me more. Yeah, because I
Yes.
think that has been the difficulty. So that's very encouraging.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
because you don't know me, I've never met you, but God still showed you that for me.
Amen. Yes,
Hmm.
thank you. Thank you very much, Charmaine.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to give the opportunity right now. So, Legends of the Wind is a nonprofit prophetic ministry. And in this season that we're in right now, we are sowing into people by giving them prophetic stories for free. Now, we are not a ministry that charges for prophetic word, but we are creative arts. We're using the prophetic and the gifts of the creativity to do this sort of work. So right now we are blessing people by doing this for free. But if you feel led to give to us, we're a 508c1a, and we would love for you to sow into what we're doing and to help us pioneer the idea of prophetic story. We're going to take a quick break for about 60 seconds or so. But in the description below is a link for giving as well. And also on the screen in the next few seconds is a QR code and also our website address. And then after that, I'm going to give you an idea of how to receive a prophetic story for your own. So thank you for your giving. Charmaine is still with us, just so you know, but I wanted to say thank you very much for your offering to us, for sowing into our ministry, for believing in what we're doing as we pioneer a prophetic story. For those of you who are interested in receiving a prophetic story from us, I'd like to show you our website. It's legendsofthewind.com. So I'm going to bring this up real quick. This is, wrong one. So this is our website, legendsofthewind.com. It is an amazingly beautiful design by my wife. She has done all the artwork and the layout and everything. And so here's where you can find out about what we're doing. And we can show you videos about what is prophetic storytelling, how to receive. Now, for those of you who are interested, you can go here at the top and it says request your prophetic story. And that will lead you to here. And we have a brand new registration system that is way more smooth than before. So here is how to do it. So right here is a testimony of Abby. I highly recommend you watch Abby's story, her show, because it was so rockin' powerful, and her story totally blessed her. But here you can request become a legend to get a story at no cost, and you can schedule here, and you can see here that we have opportunities coming up in August. And also, if you're interested, you can also order our book, Legends of the Wind, Volume 1. These contain 20 prophetic stories written for children and adults. Even though they're written for someone else, does not mean that they are not yours. You can totally benefit from them. We also have an audio book with over 3.5 hours of amazing storytelling with sound and music. Also, we have here opportunity, if you want to get your prophetic story and have an illustrated book cover designed by my wife, check it out. Look at this. She does all sorts of different designs for different people. This book here, The Clock is Ticking, is Robbie Little's prophetic story and her book cover from Alicia. So this is an amazing opportunity for as a keepsake. You can write your journaling. You can have your prophetic story. God can speak to you more and more. And if you want to receive a discount on your order, put in the comment below request, and we will get back with you and give you an email with a discount code from us. So we wanted to bless you with that. So yeah, and let's see here, where am I? Bring back Charmaine. So that is how you receive a prophetic story from us. That's how you register. When you register, you sign a release that gives us permission to have you on our show and for us to publish your story. But Charmaine, thank you so much for being my guest tonight.
Thank you so much for having me and for the amazing story.
Awesome.
It's wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Do you have any final thoughts to anybody out there that's may be curious about what you're doing here?
Yeah. I just say try it out if this resonates with you. I think it's just like such a fun, creative way to delve deeper into what God has for our lives and just to be encouraged. Like maybe we've had times where it's been low and difficult, but this could be a turning point, for our lives. Yeah. Whoever's out there watching.
Cool. Very cool. Very good. Thank you so much. That's a great plug.
Oh.
I appreciate it. So Robbie also says, so good, Charmaine. This is awesome.
Thanks, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie, thank you for being with us tonight on the chat. Thank you for people who are commenting. So we're going to wrap it up. We're going to have another broadcast, I think, in 2 weeks. And I'm excited for that. And Charmaine, don't hang up, but we'll stick around. We're going to wrap up the show. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. It's been a great time. See you in the next show. Bye.
Bye.